Hello and welcome back to another episode of Legal Unicorns with your host Rob Green. And today I'm absolutely delighted to be welcomed by Rebecca Manoti, who is joining us from Tanzania. I'm absolutely delighted that we've managed to get this organised for this wonderful sunny Monday morning here in Cape Town. It looks quite sunny where you are, but thank you very much for joining us today, Rebecca. Thanks a lot.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Well, look, as everybody knows, everybody who listens to this knows that the purpose of Legal Unicorns is really to shine a nice bright light on young African legal talent, you know, forging their own path and forging their own way in the world. And Tanzania is an up-and-coming market. It's an emerging market, and you and the firm that you work for are doing some really interesting work and really interesting marketing. And I looked at your profile and we started speaking, and I thought she's already had a very interesting background. So it's great to have you on the show and great to have you, with the opportunity to find out more about you. So if I can start with the first question, Rebecca, you're obviously from Tanzania. I'd like to know a little bit more about you, your upbringing, where you're from, and your journey to now.
Okay, so as you have introduced me, my name is Rebecca Manoti, which my parents decided to give me without my consent. Yep, I was born in this village here in Tanzania called Musoma, and it's
Okay.
a place where women are not given priority at all. So if you have a girl child, it's like you're cursed. So the parents are a little bit in a stressful moment, I would call. And I am the firstborn, having the three siblings. Yes, but then
Yes.
apart from that, I grew up not being that smart, but having parents who are smart, who at least tried in a greater level to make us girls see the world is ours. So it was very hard, I mean, being around my community at that moment, if I remember, because we were being bullied, we were being harassed. If you want to do something, no one listens to you, no one will help you maybe achieve something in life. But then when we spoke to our parents, when I spoke to my father, he decided to take me to a boarding school. So from there is where I saw opportunities. I saw that I can be who I want to be. I saw that I have power in myself and become someone whom I'll inspire others or help others to reach to a certain point of life. So then I went for my bachelor degree. When I was in law school, I graduated and then became, at first I was employed at ABC Attorneys, where I was as an intern. And then, due to the performance that I performed, I got a bonus to become an associate trainee to a new company of Rival Core, which is a partnership between ABC Attorneys and another company which is Italian Attorneys. Yep.
Yes, and that's where you are at the moment. Yes.
Yes, and here I am at the moment.
Okay. Interesting what you said about the upbringing and respect of the way that female children were viewed, and then therefore the sort of the wonderful nurturing and parenting that your folks have done and continue to do, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it's not it's just I sort of raised my eyebrows when you mentioned it, but it shouldn't be a surprise because that kind of thing happens in a lot of villages in a lot of parts of the world, and or certainly did, 20 or so years ago. Is that village just out of it? Because my geography of Tanzania is very limited, shall we say? Is that a village that's very far from Dar es Salaam, or is it close to Dar es Salaam? How far away is it?
It's not close to Dar es Salaam. So
No.
Dar es Salaam is in the coast zone, but Musoma is in the lake zone. So it's far from Dar es Salaam. And the people in lake zone, I would call, being the Musoma region, still have that type of customary lifestyle. So, as far as you're born a man, you're stronger. You can make
Mm.
decisions even for the home. And as far as you're born a woman, you can say anything, and you can't say anything, and the person does something that you have said. So it's a culture that articulates within Black Zone, but for the Coast Zone, which the Westland now falls among it, I haven't seen that type of issues. Yeah,
Yeah, so it must
yeah.
have been a bit of a surprise for you when you moved away then, and you start to learn
Yes, I
different
was
cultures
very
and see
shocked.
different things. Was the
Exactly.
boarding school that you went to, was that close to the village, or was it closer to the bigger city, or was it far away, I suppose?
It's not far away.
Okay.
It's just in the other region, but the other region which is Mwanza, the same which is in Lexon. So the boarding school was a missionary school. So
Okay.
it had different attitude of training the students, the pupils. So we met people from different areas, from different countries, with different cultures. So I found something which was very new from my place, which I was coming from.
Yeah. So yeah, even at that young age, you start to see there's the different life outside of the village, and there's
Yes,
different people, and they different values, and they see different things, and that opens your eyes up to the possibilities, obviously.
exactly,
Um,
exactly.
just out of interest, you're the oldest of your siblings, and
Yes,
your parents were obviously very determined that you would have every opportunity and you would see the world that the world can be yours. Just
yes.
from your perspective of going into law, were either of your parents or are either of your parents a lawyer?
Yes, my
Ah,
dad is in the judicial system.
okay. So you'd seen it,
Yes,
and you'd seen him in it, and he, well,
yes,
he probably didn't encourage you, but you'd seen it, yes? Yeah.
yes, I did see it. So, I was lucky, I would call myself, because my mom was a teacher, and she is a teacher even by now. My
Mm.
dad does in the judicial system. So, when I came out of school, my mom taught me, she used to brush me from what I was taught at school. And at the same time, my dad was like, you know, we have judges who are women doing great. So at times, I remember I did ask him to take me to court so I can see women, the
Yeah.
judge women. Yes, but then I didn't get an opportunity until when I got to Form 6. I think it was time now. He said, come and see for yourself. Come and see how other women are doing better and that you can get somewhere better too. So yeah, he showed me the way. He showed me that it's possible. Yeah.
That's yeah. I mean, that is really nice, but also it's very. It's. I remember I interviewed a lady about a year ago who was from she's South African, but from the Tamil culture, or the sort of Southern Indian background, and she had a similar story to you. She, in the sense that, you know, it was difficult as a woman getting, perceived to be a homemaker as opposed to being able to have a career, and etc. etc.
Yeah.
And from a very early age, her father used to take her to court just so she could see
Yeah.
other women working and being within the system. So it sounds like your dad, when you were old enough,
Yes. Yes.
said, come see for yourself that that
Yeah.
careers are possible. So would you say that and your dad was what inspired you to get into the law?
Not much,
No?
but that growing up, being bullied, because I was bullied. I was very thin, so I grew up very very thin, and then I was bullied. People were calling me names, so that created anger in my heart, and I was like, why are people doing this? Are there no laws that protect people to live peacefully despite them being thin? So I
That
remember.
So you were bullied.
That
What
anger,
sort of
yes,
what sort of age were you when that was happening? Sorry, just so for context.
8 to 10.
Okay, yeah,
Yes,
formative
yes.
years in your
So
mind, times where you
yes, so
remember.
it came, yes, yes, because it really triggered my mind so hard. So I remember I was telling to myself, like, the moment that I get an opportunity, I'll become a lawyer and sue all those people who have tried to make my life miserable at school. So I decided to now foresee law is the only means of making these people at least not do the same things. And so when I discussed with my dad, several times, telling my dad, I don't like people doing this, and I wish one day I can become maybe a judge or a lawyer so that I can make sure that I punish these people.
Put them
So
all
he
in
just
prison.
laughed. And at the moment, I'm telling you, my dad wasn't in the judicial system yet. He was doing in an administrative body.
Okay.
So the moment he got into judiciary, he then told me, "Wow, I can see your dreams coming true because I see lawyers here, I see judges here, so you can become someone." And I was like, "Oh, God has taken you there for purpose." So yeah.
Okay. So yeah, your sort of your legal journey, if you like, started actually by facing adversity and
Yes,
facing challenges as a young child, and
exactly.
you know,
Yes,
and I see you put in your notes there that by being bullied for being thin, you were
yeah,
considered weak and not strong,
exactly.
and actually you you've probably come out of it with a much stronger mind than most, I assume. But
Yeah,
it's something I'm sure you won't ever forget.
I will
And
never
yeah,
forget.
have you put them in prison yet? Have you?
Oh no, I've forgiven them.
Okay, okay, yeah. Maybe it's just a strongly
Yeah,
worded legal letter. Don't do it again. Um,
yeah.
but that is it. That is interesting because we often interview people who've been inspired by the family members or been inspired by, um, in some cases movies, or TV
Yeah.
shows. Whereas actually you've been inspired by your actually a very personal moment and a journey, and then your father sort of encouraging it as well, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Then, in terms of you, one of the questions we often ask is there two or three things, or one maybe, is there any specific decisions or actions that you've made in the early part of your career that have kind of shaped who you are or shaped your career? And obviously you gave a couple of options there, but yeah, were a couple of things that happened that you've done that have shaped who you are?
So I remember in 2019, I contested for the Miss Tanzania 2019 and end up being the top 10 finalist, the best top 10 finalists. So
Well done.
thank you. So I would say this moment was the prestigious moment in my life because it shaped my life, not only my personal life, but my career life. Because through the platform of Miss Tanzania, Miss World Tanzania, I got an opportunity of meeting the greatest lawyers from Tanzania with my
Wow.
title. Yes. So it created loopholes. I mean, it created several ways for me to get to points where I couldn't have got with just me sitting down, going class, yes, and becoming just the Rebecca, the normal Rebecca. So I would say it is the best decision which I've ever made, and it's the best. Yeah, it's the best. It opened doors for me, even to get here at Riven Core. Yeah.
Well, what I mean, just out of interest, had you two questions in one? Had you ever done anything like that before? And how did you start the process in your head, thinking, I'm going to do that?
Okay, I was just a university student. In 2019, I was in my third year, the bachelor degree. So I remember I used to see one of my classmates doing these model stuffs. So I was impressed with her. I was thin, yes, but I wasn't that much motivated. So one day I remember she told me, Rebecca, you know what? You can come into these beauty competitions and you're smart, you're tall, you're black. So you have every criteria that, I mean, can take you to levels that you haven't imagined yet. So when she told me that, I went home and discussed with my parents. So my dad is a person who sees opportunity in everything. So he told me, oh, you're in third year, you'll be finalizing your last year in next year, in 2020. So take this opportunity. You might maybe become the next Miss World Tanzania, and imagine how will that be? So I went. And yes, it all became very, very surprising.
But it must have been quite. It must have been quite a mind-blowing experience if you've never done anything like that before. But also
I have
confidence
never,
building. Was it good? Was it
I've
good for your
never,
confidence?
no, I won't say it's that. I mean, if you train your mind, at that time, I wasn't sure if I win or I'll lose. But then having that, I mean, confidence in myself, I just kept confidence in myself, and I used to speak to myself that Rebecca, you can make it. So I used to do class. After class, I used my ample time, the free time to go for the trainings. So I did
Yeah.
catwalks in extra times. I did public speaking, trainings. So you can see all that effort was to at least take me somewhere. So I found myself doing a lot of things to make sure that at least with this platform, I get somewhere better. So it's just the preparations, I would say, the confidence that I had in myself, and the parents. They really told me, you can do it, go Rebecca. They support me. If I tell my dad I don't have this, he would just hit the M-Pesa. I would have cash, I would go do this. So it was, I don't know how to say it, but it was a really great journey because I had support, I had confidence, and I had kept it in my mind already that I want this and I can do it.
That's a really good message to send other young lawyers as well, or young professionals who you obviously faced adversity, and then literally within a number of years later, you are entering the Miss World Tanzania competition,
Yeah,
which you'd never done before. It's a real testimony to
exactly.
you as a person, in terms of having the confidence in yourself to say, no, I can do this, having the strength. When
Yes,
when others might sort of shy away from it, you said, no, I'm going to do this. And you had your family behind you, obviously, but it takes a lot of inner strength to go, no, I'm going to do this. And it shows a lot of resilience, shows a lot of grit, determination. Just from your, again, I would not pertain to be an expert on beauty pageants, having never been in one, but I can imagine that, first of all, you've got to have the confidence to be able to present yourself in front of an
yes,
audience and judges. Being
yes,
judged is difficult enough. And then also public speaking, presenting yourself, holding yourself,
yeah,
confidence, inner demons sitting there going, why am I here? Why are they looking, why should I be here? Imposter syndrome, as they call it. Sometimes it creeps into all of us. So it's a real testimony to you to have the strength to do that. I mean, well done to you. I mean, that's the kind of.
thank you.
I think it's mind over matter as well, isn't it? Sometimes we do these things in life where we do it, and then we go, I can do that. I can do something.
Yes,
On a
sure.
slightly different side of things, I've got many years ago, I ran the London Marathon with zero training, and I've got the medal up on the office here. I've carried it with me everywhere because
Wow, wow.
occasionally when you need a bit of a reminder, you can go, I can do that. I can face that challenge. I might not have done it before, but I can do it. And
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
I would have, yeah, I could do it when I was in my 20s. I'm not sure I could do it now, but it is more it is more about mind over matter and just having that remembrance of going, I can do it, and you've
Yes,
got that now for the rest of your life. You've
sure,
got that experience of going, I
exactly.
can do this. I can do whatever I put my mind to. So that's a
Yeah.
really good lesson for anyone listening. Um, and the second thing you put down there is about setting up an NGO. Could you tell us a little bit more
Oh,
about that?
yeah. So the second thing is about the NGO. So when I got into the beauty pageant, it's always a custom or a tradition that you should give back to your society. You should create a platform to give back to the society. So I just told myself, like, with or without the crown, without the Miss Tanzania award crown, Miss Tanzania crown, I will have my own NGO that I can support and empower the young children's, the youth group from schools, at least to get to a certain point of life. So I registered an NGO which is called Daftari Langu campaign. So it's speaking of Daftari Langu is a Swahili word which means my exercise. So the purpose of it was or is to go across the schools, the universities, and at least speak to this youth group and show them on how the future is. In Tanzania, I would speak for my country. We go to school, we're taught about the things in the books. So when a person graduates, the life outside school is totally different from what you see when you're in school. So at least giving these students exposure to what is really outside there will at least make them stand financially, but also create the portable decisions, the hardest decisions for their future, not to fall into several traps. Because you find a person graduating, he comes in town, no jobs, no opportunities. This person now becomes, you see, some decide just to settle, some decide to do some stuffs which are not, morally light. So it's basic that we train these people at least to have a certain thing for themselves before they finalize their schools.
That's amazing. And is it still going? Is it still the book's still being produced? And
Yes, it is still going and doing, at first when I wasn't working, I was doing it via seminars. So I used to go to schools with my team. Supporting them with different things, could be uniforms, could be sports, utensils, and many, many things. But then when I got employed now, it became very hard for our team at least to do all the things. So what we decided, we're doing it. We can have projects twice per year, but then I decided to reach to a lot of the students across Tanzania through writing books. So you can see I have two books right now, and those books are really simple in a very simple language for these students in school to read and at least understand what are the ABCs after leaving school and what should you at least prepare for before you leave school.
wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing, Rebecca. That's really, really good. I mean, that's a really good thing you've done there, because I think
Thank you.
I've been working with within the people business, and dealing with
Yeah.
people's careers for over 20 years now, and I have seen. The one thing we can all say with every country, I think, is what you're taught in school doesn't necessarily happen outside
Exactly.
of outside
Yeah.
of the school grounds. You kind of, or even at university, you get to the workplace and you go, hang on a minute, this isn't
When
what I
is
was
this?
taught. What's going on? So yeah, but it's great that
Indeed.
you're trying to bridge that gap with your NGO
Yes,
that
yes.
will better and will better prepare people. And also, you mentioned briefly in the notes, but I'd like to touch on it, is that, and I can see, you've even in your, your relatively, young life, and you're still at the beginning of your career, which is amazing.
Yeah.
You've got so much more to achieve, and you've achieved so much already. But going back to
Amen.
your village must be a
Yeah.
real inspiration to some of the girls and to some of the, even the parents, I guess.
Yes, so I would say, so something is that after years, my dad was transferred from the place which I was born to the central city of Tanzania, which is Dodoma. So Dodoma is already not as much as how Musoma is. So what we do with my family is that every December we do go back to our village, and when we get there, we will be celebrating. Yes, we can go there for socializing, but I do take that as an opportunity of me dealing with my community, because I understand till today that these norms and customs still operate in my region. So, how do I help these women or the young generation that are coming up? So what I do is when I get into my town, I do come across several issues, helping them legally. So I can do it for free, really, I'm telling you,
Pro
for
bono work.
free, without
Nice.
pay. Yes, the pro bonos. So I do that a lot. And at times, I do even visit, one family to another, at least to get in touch with girls, showing them that, you see, I'm here today, so you can also be somewhere tomorrow. So they get inspired, they get very happy to see you, at least you made it, and they have that, they carry now that confidence that I will make it too. If Rebecca did this and she's here now, so one day I'll also get outside there and become someone like her or more better than her. So it's
Brilliant.
really something I love doing, yes, in December.
Yeah, it's brilliant because it's such a, it's a real inspiration, and you would have touched many hearts of the younger generation coming through the village,
Exactly.
but also,
Exactly.
go back to what we were talking about earlier when you entered the beauty pageant. You'd never done anything like that before in your life. And also the steps
Yeah.
you've made to go into law, to study, to then
Yes.
get a job, going for job interviews, getting work experience, all along the ways.
Yes.
You've always got to present yourself and go, get over your doubts, get over, and remind yourself, I can do this. And, having, the girls in that village having the chance to talk to you and see you, and for you to go, look, I didn't have any experience, I just believed in myself. They'll take a lot from that, and that is really, really inspiring. Is there any notable people, anybody that you would say that have stood out? You mentioned one advocate on your notes, but I wondered if there's anybody that's really stood out that's really helped you on your journey so far.
Okay, so the first one is my parents, to be honest. Yes,
They sound
they
amazing, by the way.
have, yeah, yeah,
Big,
yeah.
big
They
shout
have
out
been,
to your parents.
yes,
Really big, wonderful people.
really, yeah,
Like
they're
them. We like
wonderful,
them.
and I'm proud,
Mm.
yeah, of them. But then apart from that, I mentioned the advocate.
Oh, by the way, not as proud as they are of you. I can tell you that. I can tell you that. My parents, yeah, bless. They could never, yeah. But anyway,
Yeah,
sorry.
they're proud. They're
They're
proud.
very proud of
And
you.
I'm telling you, they see this podcast, they'll say, "Wow, you're taking Manoti to the other levels." So you
There we
see,
go. This is it. This is what we're here to do. To take that there. Brilliant. I love it. Well, I hope they enjoy it, and that's what,
yeah,
a message from me, I can tell them they've done a really good job. They've done really, really well. You've brought
exactly,
up a
really,
fine
yeah,
young professional. But sorry,
exactly.
you mentioned the advocate. Sorry, you mentioned advocate as well.
Yeah. So this advocate by name is Soba. He really helped me. Coming out of school, is that yes, my dad is in the judicial system, but trust me, it was very unusual. Oh, it was very hard for me to say like, Dad, I don't have a place to go. Help me, connect me, do this, do this. yeah, I found it like, why should I do that? So what I decided is I just asked this friend of mine, his advocate. So I asked him like, can you please link me to a law firm that does intellectual property? Because at the time I was graduating, I said I really want to do intellectual property. So when I just asked him, surprisingly, he just said, don't worry. He sent me the number of the other advocate and said, this is the managing partner at ABC Attorneys. Please call him and let him know that I've offered you his number and then express what you have told me. So when I called his advocate Sunday, he just said, impressive, send me your CV. So, when I sent my CV, he didn't take even seconds. He told me, please, can we sit for a meeting the next, it was the next day, if I remember correctly. So I went to his office, I met him, I expressed myself. As I said, confidence is the key. So I expressed myself, he saw me, he was very proud, and he said, please come join us on Monday. That's simple. So I just got the
Love it.
opportunity just directly from school. So it was amazing.
Well, that's brilliant because I mean, yeah, and people don't know how they're shaping others' lives just by giving them an opportunity and pointing them in the right
Yes.
direction, and that shows
Yeah.
where you're doing the same by giving back. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's lovely when we get a chance to thank the people along the way that have made a difference in our lives.
Indeed. Yes.
The I'm gonna let you go in a minute because I know you got to get back to work,
Yeah, sure.
but I've really enjoyed this. I just want to end on one question, really, in two parts. What, both professionally and personally, what are your next aspirations? What are your dreams that you want to fulfill? And let's start with professional. What's your goal?
Okay, so professionally, I would say I'm still young and a junior in the industry, but I really focus on becoming someone greater that Tanzania is waiting and the world is waiting at large.
Oh, love it.
So I really aspire becoming a judge. And I know I will make it because I have seen the system. I am into the system already.
Yeah.
So I see there are gaps. I see there are still some challenges. And I think there are ways that maybe one day if I sit in that chair, maybe the legal justice or the legal system will become better, not as how it is right now. So I really aspire becoming a judge of Tanzania.
Wonderful. I mean, that's a great,
Yeah,
yeah, and to make a
yeah,
real difference. And
yes,
and on
exactly.
the what about what's coming up for you on the personal side of things? Have you got goals to travel? Well, it sounds like you're going to take over the world, so we're going to have to keep an eye on you. But what's anything
Yeah.
around the corner for you at the moment?
So, personally, I say I just want to be this person who is remarkable. I just want the generation, this younger generation, not to forget me. And how shouldn't they not forget me? I want to leave something in them today so that when tomorrow they get somewhere, they could say, Rebecca helped me get here. You see that. At least I want to leave a mark on people's lives. I would say that's short. And I'm really trying hard in my really life. The neighbors, the clients in office. If I get into something, I want to do it perfectly and make that person remember me. Like something might be very complex, but I won't show to that person that this thing is complex. So I try to soften things. I try to make a person feel comfortable, to at least to at least feel that everything is possible. And with that, I really believe that I will be remarkable. I'll be remembered. Yeah.
I love it. I think it's an amazing. I think you're going to do it. I think you
Yeah.
clearly are. You're really already leaving a mark. I think
Exactly.
you're already a real inspiration to those around you in your village, in your community, but also the wider the wider world as well. And I'm really pleased that we've had this chance to get this out to our audience, which is, you know, across Africa and further afield as well, across the legal communities and business communities. So on that, that's a perfect note to end on, rather. And I'm going to, Rebecca, thank you so much for your time today. You know, you are definitely one to watch, so we're going to keep an eye on you. But thanks very much.
Thank you for having me.